But now I'm going to give you a peek into where my head is at right now, and it's a peek into the future of what we'll be shipping next year that I just couldn't wait to share with you because it's been something I've been passionate about. I've been thinking deeply, as I say, on where New Relic ought to go, and there's been a couple of facts that have been rattled around my head for the last couple of years that I think ought to be fundamental to our product and business strategy. The first fact is this: if software is eating the world, and I believe that is the case, then the app or your software is at the center of the business. If every business is, to some extent, a software business, then data from your application about what your application is doing, what your customers are doing with your software, is the data that is the best data to analyze to make your business better. And that goes far beyond response time data. That goes into all sorts of things that we happen to be able to see today. And the fact number two, which is clear to me and I think clear to pretty much everyone in this room, is that every business wants to be more data-driven. You know, far too many decisions are made by either speculation or loudest voice in the room or gut feel, largely because it's too hard to get the data to really make informed decisions. And you know, backing up on an idea with data sometimes is too much effort, but it's the most common question is like, can you back up that idea with data? We want to be able to say yes more often. So with those facts in my mind, let me take you back to December of last year. You know, as a builder of software, and this is also true in many creative efforts, you can work and work and work on a problem, and you know, it's like the author, like you crumple up the piece of paper and throw it in the dustbin and start it again. Yeah, I went through that throughout most of 2012, rattling these ideas in my mind. And then I was in Lake Tahoe, and I thought I was going to take a break from thinking about these problems and where New Relic would go next. And this was in a part of Lake Tahoe where my home is, up there called in an area called Mount Rubicon. And in late December, you can see I started to write some code. This is my GitHub commit history. And in particular, right on that date, inspiration struck. And I got to give a shout out to my dear wife because she knows when I get hit by that idea. How many of you have been hit by an idea and you can't stop thinking about it and all you want to do is work on it? Huh? Isn't that like the best feeling in the world? It's so amazing. I'm so blessed that I get that. And you know, it's a bit of it's almost like a drug. I mean, once you have it, you can't think of anything else but that. So bless my wife, she understood I was in that zone, and she took my daughter, and they went back to our house back in the Bay Area, and I coded from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. through the first 2 weeks of January. And it was awesome. It was just magical. Thank goodness we've got a remarkably good team leading the company at New Relic, so you know, Chris Cook and the team are minding the shop while I'm building what I can't wait to demo for you in a few minutes. So what has come out of that early work, and it's obviously far more than myself now, we've got a team of engineers working on it, is what I like to think of as the second act for New Relic. New Relic is and always will be the leader in APM. We will always be there to help you make your software faster, more reliable, better for your customers, so you can deliver great customer experiences. But we're excited to add a new project that we've codenamed Rubicon, based on where the idea came for me. And it's coming to you in 2014. And let me tell you a little bit about the problems New Relic is going to solve. We want you to be agile with your data-driven decision making. And what do I mean by that? Well, I feel like, and we have this at New Relic, we've had this experience where in trying to become more data-driven as a company as we grow our business. It feels kind of like waterfall software development to me, in that you've got to think very hard about the question you pose, because it may take weeks before you get the data in and in a format and queried and get an answer back. And that's kind of like waterfall software development, where you spend all this time speccing software, then you build it, then you ship it, and it's been 8 months since you really made the decisions of what you're going to build, and you find out too late that you asked the wrong questions or made the wrong specifications. What I love about agile software development is you get instant feedback on the work you're doing. The tighter the iteration, the better your software, and that ought to be the same with your data-driven decision making. You ought to be able to ask a question of your app and get an immediate answer. Immediate answer. And once you do that, it changes your whole thinking. You get creative with your problem solving. Every time you ask a question, you get an immediate answer. It prompts the next question until you get to an insight. And that insight changes your business, helps you sell more product, helps you convert more customers, helps you reach new markets, helps you delight more people. What kinds of questions come up? They go far beyond just how fast is my app? What's my average revenue per sale? Or how are we doing in this country? Or are people converting better since we changed the color of this button? All these questions come in, and in fact, it's a fire hose of questions. These questions come in at a rate far faster than any company is able to answer them. You may get 1,000 questions a day, and you're lucky if your team can come up with 10 answers to the 1,000 questions. So we believe that the future is about something that we call software analytics. And what I mean by that is ask a question of your software and get a direct answer from your software, looking at the real events that are flowing through your transaction immediately, up to the second, with very fast response times. And I just think this is going to be a very exciting time for our industry when all of a sudden you've got complete visibility and answers into the questions that are essential for you to make even better software that will turn into more successful businesses. So I'm about to go into a demo, but before I do, I'd like to just kind of tell you a little bit about how we're built, what our architecture is. This is New Relic's simplified architecture today. At the bottom, you see that we collect data from code running on the server. We collect data from code running in the browser and on the mobile device, obviously. And we introduce this platform, and that lets you send more data from things outside of the application, like your Mongo database performance or something. That all comes into a massive data storage system that we persist those 200 billion metrics a day, and then we pre-aggregate them in anticipation of what is going to be demonstrated or displayed on our screens. When I show you that chart of average response time, we pre-aggregate it across all the transactions we observed into those on a per minute basis so that you can get fast answers to those questions. The problem is when you pre-aggregate, you throw away all the raw event data. Oh, and by the way, all this is hosted in the cloud, and so that it's super simple to get going. You don't have to think about anything. Just drop in our agent, you get this visibility, and that's one of the things that makes New Relic, I think, pretty magical. But we need to actually keep the raw event data to answer ad hoc questions. And what makes it even harder is we can't even index on insert because we don't know what your questions are going to be. And you probably don't know what questions are going to be. So we need a massive cloud-hosted database that will persist, for example, every one of those 15 billion page views that we collect every week, as well as all those app server transactions, all those mobile transactions, turn them into a bunch of time-stamped key value events, and then somehow deliver lightning-fast queries on those events in aggregate the second you think of them and type them. And that's what Rubicon does.